Okay, hi everyone. So for today's video, I thought I would go back to my series of what to do when you can't think of what to do. And a surefire remedy for that is to dive into my Barry Harris note collection. This is basically, I just picked out all my favorite things from class going back to 2012 to literally today because Barry's doing them on Zoom. So here I just sort of randomly picked out a class from, and again, for my Patreon patrons, I'm going to do screen grabs of the topics that I talk about. But this is, and yes, if you want to get access to that and other exclusive videos and Q&As, and or if you're just very generous and have at a minimum $3 a month, you can join my inner circle on Patreon and support my content. If this stuff is useful to you, you can find it on patreon.com/Isaac Raz. But anyway, enough of that. So this is a class that was on, let me see, it was November 24th, 2015. And I just sort of randomly picked it out, but there's some really interesting stuff. I mean, you could just randomly pick out any of those pages and get great ideas for practice. So I'll just kind of go write down the ideas here. The first thing that he says on this page, he says, put on a body glove. Those of you that come to class have probably heard him say that. It's like you put on a body glove. What does he mean by that? Well, he's talking about technique. He's talking about relaxation. He's talking about when you put on a glove on your hand, you feel that support on your muscles and you just relax into that. There's a feeling of being relaxed. And he says when you play, you put on a body glove, like feel like your whole body is supported by a glove and that you can just ease into the instrument, so, you feel the weight of your arms. So he says, put on a body glove. And then the next idea, he started talking about Bud Powell's Hallucinations, which begins with this sort of, which is of course almost starts like chopsticks, right? Try that again. And so on. So it starts with this. So he says, well, why don't we turn that into an exercise? And you go up the whole scale. In this case, we're doing the F scale with the fourth B flat and the fifth C. And one line goes 5, 6, 7, 1. And then down thirds. 1, 2, 7, 6. 1, 2, 7, 1, 6. Or sol, la, ti, do, re, ti, do, la. Or however you prefer to audiate it. It's always good to sing along. Even la, do, 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 la. And then you take that up the scale. Da, 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 and so on. Left hand against that plays 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4. So just taking the scale from the fourth down to the fourth, and you put them together and you get do, 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 do. And take that up the scale. And again, put on the body glove. Feel that relaxation. Oops. So now we took something and we turned it into an exercise. And of course, we would practice it in every key and do all that. This is something he does often. one of the more famous ones is he'll take, I think it's Opus 10 number 4 or Opus 4 number 10. I forget which one. It's a Chopin etude where he goes. Right? And he'll say, well, look at this. I'm going to use my upper fingers here and go up chromatically. He says, what can I do with that? And he turns it into a beautiful 2-5-1. 2-5-1 in F. He goes. So Barry took Chopin and said, oh, what can I do with it? Right? He took Bud and said, what can I do with it? Here's his idea on Chopin. He'll go. So this is what most of the world calls a D minor 9, or we call a B flat 6 with the diminished note for the G minor 7th. And then I go up chromatically, and I end up with an A triad on top of a C7. If you'll remember from the other videos based on the diminished family, A is part of the family of C7. And then a C6 on top of the F. And then he turns that into a sequence. And see if I remember this. He'll go. And that's Barry's song based on Chopin's chromatic etude. Whoops. So, steal from the best, I guess, is the lesson here. So what can I do this? Back to Hallucinations. Yeah, maybe I'll start on any one. I could make this all work as some sort of cadence into F. Right? I just do any kind of special chord that I want for the C7. And then so these are just my own thoughts of how would I use this. So that's the idea. Make an exercise. Then he talks about how Mingus told me here. He says right here. He says Mingus told me Bud used to play octaves, not tenths. He even showed me a tune he made up based on Bud from the time he played with Bud. Now, when I was at the music school that should go unnamed, not a single one of my teachers said, when I played with Mingus, he told me he made up a tune based on Bud when he played on Bud. That's kind of amazing. And I try to write down these little vignettes. What's next? Okay, so here on the second page, and again, I'll screenshot this one too. This is actually something that he did on the Zoom class as well. He talks about mixing up minor 6 diminished scales. So he takes a minor 2-5 to C minor. Okay, and he'll start with an F minor 6, which as you know, if you looked at, and again, there are all videos linked to this, the 6-chord rules, the 10-chord routine, all of these talk about why a minor 7 flat 5 chord is really a minor 6 chord in disguise. It's a minor 6 chord with the 6 in the bass. So I take my F minor 6 for the D half diminished, or D minor 7 flat 5. The A flat minor 6 will be my G7th. The A flat minor 6 is the tritones minor. Again, all those same videos I just referenced talk about that as well. And then just a regular C minor major, or actually he goes to C major 7, because a minor 2-5 sounds really good going to a major. So that's the example here. And he says you can do your... So what I did was I did a F minor 6 diminished, followed by an A flat minor 6 diminished in the bass line. And that gave me a really, really, really beautiful... here's my A flat minor 6. Ooh, that's so pretty. And then he talks about how you can do any combinations of these. So I'm reading this now. The beauty of the 6 diminished scale is that you can do anything, any direction, and get away with that. What does that one look like again? Back down, and then chromatic up. So that's that one. What does he do here? He goes... So it's a great launch pad for creativity. So some ideas from November the 24th, 2015. So how does this connect to some of what he taught recently? Well, that whole idea, that same thing, he does this. There's a beautiful thing that he does on, they ask me how I knew. Smoke gets in your eyes. My true love was true. I, of course, replied, something deep inside cannot be denied. So look what he goes. He goes, they ask me. He uses the flat 3 diminished on that. How I knew my true love was... Now, the original goes, true augmented to the 4th, but he'll use the 2-5 going to the 4th chord. We're in the key of E flat. It's a B flat minor 7 to E flat 7 to A flat. The E flat 7 takes the tritone, or the tritones minor, which is E minor 6. Okay, look at what he does. They asked me how I knew my true love was... Now. So what is that? Right? That's an E flat 7, and I'm using a B flat minor 6 diminished. Right? Because that's the important minor of E flat. Then the tritones minor, I'm using E minor 6 diminished. that lands me right on a E flat 6, which is the fifth, the rule that works, the major rule for the A flat major 7. Let's try that again. They asked me how I knew my true love was true. Here's my, okay, so actually it's a B flat minor 7th, so I'm going to use a D flat 6 diminished, which is the same, really, same diminished as the B flat minor 6 diminished that I was talking about earlier. But instead of B flat minor 6, the important minor of B flat 7, I'm going to use the minor 7 rule, or a D flat 6 for the B flat minor 7. Then I switch over to the tritones minor. And here it is. Sorry. No. Goes to 3 minor. That took me a while to figure out. I could do it here too. We could do this all day. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little trip into the notes as they were written down from November 24th, 2015. I will again post screen grabs of these little things for my Patreon, on my Patreon page, and yeah. See you guys on the next one. Stay safe out there.